Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago to protect humans from the deviants.
You can't protect any of them.
How's it going up there, YouTube land and all subsequent social media lands? Welcome to an all-new video. So this is a review of the latest Marvel film that came out in the theaters back at the middle of November. We're finally getting around to doing the review for it, so we're going to get right into it. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on this video and the other videos I put up. And as always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, where I post pretty much on a regular basis as well. So let's get right in this, people, and see what it's all about! So welcome one and all to an all-new video. So like I was saying before, we're going to be doing a review of the most latest Marvel film that the MCU has brought us, which came out at the middle of November last month, and is a great film that I was actually really shocked at how fun and entertaining it was. And that, of course, is the film known as The Eternals. Yeah, Eternals. Yeah. So Eternals is basically a first run of these characters from the MCU comics that we really never have seen previously in another MCU film. We kind of get a brief history of what these characters are and kind of a storyline of what they've gone through and, you know, basically where they're at now, currently in the present MCU timeline. Now, this movie has a really big all-star cast. It was directed by an Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning filmmaker who actually has done quite a few indie films that, basically led to her becoming the Oscar winner that she is. And she is an interesting, director. She has a really great visualization of landscaping or, scenery for films. Like, she's really good at that type of thing. But as a director itself, I didn't think she is that great, and I was really kind of very skeptical at what she was going to bring to this MCU film. And that happens to be the director known as Miss Chloe Zhao. Oh yeah, Chloe Zhao, woo! Chloe Zhao, woo! So Chloe Zhao, like I said, is an indie filmmaker. She's directed a few other indie films over the years that were Native American related, that had to do with backstories about Native Americans and stuff like that, that were considered huge indie hits. Then she ended up, winning an Oscar for her most recent film, Before the Eternals, which I honestly don't get why she won Best Picture for that film and Best Director, because literally that movie was the most boringest freaking thing I've ever seen. Oh my god, this was the most horriblest film I've ever seen, and I do not agree at all with all the praise this film gets. And that, of course, is a film called Nomadland. Yeah, Nomadland. So this movie has a great cast. I mean, you got David Strahan in it, you got Frances McDormand, and both of them are really fantastic actors and actresses, and just, always enjoyable to watch and everything. But Nomadland would have been better if it had been a documentary. This movie is kind of like supposed to be like a, similar story up to what a nomad is, and basically kind of telling the story of Frances McDormand's character and kind of like what she goes through as being a nomad. Would have been done so much better if it was a real documentary versus being a feature-length film. And Chloe, I just don't know what the hell she was thinking when she made this film, but the scenery, yes, was fantastic, but the writing, the idea, the storyline just was not there. This movie is so bad, and so I had a lot of huge doubts going into Eternals because of how bad that film was. So it really surprised me that she actually did an okay job with the Eternals. I actually was really impressed, actually, that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because after seeing her direct Nomadland, I was really skeptical. But going into the Eternals, like I said, I thought she did a decent job with the film. She did a lot better than I thought she would. She gave us a pretty cohesively seeming story that, I felt it kept bouncing back too much throughout the film, but what she brought to it wasn't too shabby and wasn't too bad of a directing job. I definitely give her probably a 5 out of 10 for directing this film, because she definitely didn't do horrible, and she didn't do the greatest, but she did do a decent job to make it entertaining and very enjoyable. So like I was saying before, this movie has an all-star cast, huge ensemble cast of great actors, actresses that just I thought were really good choices, were definitely, people that I can see playing these different characters and definitely bringing something really fun and entertaining to this fold. Now, to start us off is none other than Icarus himself, Mr. Richard Madden. Oh yeah, Richard Madden, woo, Richard Madden, yeah. So Richard Madden you might recognize from a slew of things over the years. He's done quite a few BBC series. He was in Game of Thrones. He's been in a ton of things over the years. And is just a really amazing actor that's, a rising star that's really fun. But one film I really enjoyed him in, and I thought that he was really great in, is the film As Followed. Now, this film came out in 2019, is a semi-fantastical, story about Elton John's life. And basically kind of, it gives truth to the, what his life was like, but definitely in a very fantastical and dramatic and very entertaining, spectacular way. And then, of course, the film called Rocket Man. Yeah, Rocket Man. Rocket Man, he don't know who he has had. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, Rocket Man. This movie is fantastic, and I absolutely loved Richard Madden playing the first boyfriend of Elton John, who he had a really tumescently crazy relationship with, where he was just taken so advantage by this character and everything, and this gentleman, and Richard Madden just played him to the T. He really brought him to life. He gave us an example of what this guy was like, and what Elton had to deal with. And I just thought that Richard did such a great job of just being very realistic and very on point, and giving us this really spectacular performance. If you haven't seen Rocket Man, definitely check out Richard Madden's performance in as that character. He was really on point and really gave us a really good interpretation of what Elton John had to go through. Now that brings me to the next actress I like to talk about, and that is none other than the other main character, Cersei, Miss Gemma Chan. Oh yeah, Gemma Chan, woo, Gemma Chan, yeah. So Gemma Chan, you might recognize from a few things over the years. She's another rising star, I feel. She's like kind of, had bit parts here and there, and then all of a sudden kind of making a huge, uplift and becoming more and more popular with, the movie audiences and stuff like that, and she's gotten bigger and bigger roles. And I think that she's a pretty decent actress. I think she's okay. I think she's not the greatest, but she definitely brings a great charm to her characters, and you just kind of enjoy her, and you kind of sympathize with her, because she's just really good at being that kind of like sympathetic type of character. Now, another film she was in that is another Marvel film, that is another film that I enjoyed her in and thought she did a pretty decent job, and that, of course, is the film Captain Marvel. Yeah, Captain Marvel. Yeah, she actually plays in another MCU film as an actual enemy MCU character in the, Captain Marvel 1. And she was just really awesome in that role. I really enjoyed her. I liked her chemistry between her and Brie Larson. I really enjoyed her interactions with the other characters in the film. And I just thought she brought a great presence to that character and a really fun aspect of who that character was, and what she was dealing with, and trying to be this like evil bad guy type of character that was very different from her character of Cersei. And I just thought that she did a really fantastic job playing that character and gave us a really great villain performance. If you haven't seen Captain Marvel yet, definitely check it out for Gemma Chan's performance in it. She was actually pretty superb in it. But when it comes to her performance as Cersei in the Eternals, I thought it was a mediocre performance. I didn't think it was anything great. I didn't think it was the best, but I definitely didn't think she did horrible. And I did feel a lot of emotion for Cersei. I thought that her character was kind of bland a little bit. I thought it was very, deadpan. It like seemed to be on the same line of circuit the whole time of film. You didn't really see a lot of emotion from the character, and I thought that was kind of interesting that they decided to go that way with Cersei's character, because I feel in the comics Cersei's a lot different, and she had a lot more, emotion, and she was a lot more stronger, and she was in her mind thinking she was a powerful person, whereas how Gemma Chan portrayed her, she seemed very doubtful and didn't know her for herself. And I just thought that was a different and, weird route to go, but still not a horrible performance. I definitely enjoyed her. I thought she looked fantastic. I thought she did a good job of giving us an entertaining and a very interesting portrayal of Cersei, and I thought she worked really well with everyone in the film, and I thought it was overall a decent performance. If you haven't seen Gemma Chan anything, definitely check out Eternals, see for yourself, see what you think of her performance in this film. So that brings me to the next actor I'd like to talk about that was in film, and that is none other than an awesome comedic actor who I was like shocked as hell that they brought in this film and got him so jacked for this film. And he just looks so freaking awesome. And that, of course, is Mr. Kumail Nanjiani. Oh, yeah. Come on, Nanjiani. Woo. Come on. Oh, my gosh. How buff he got for this role is amazing. I could not believe how buff he got for this film. How ripped and how, cut he was. It was freaking insane. And he looks so awesome like that. And I just was really impressed with the dedication he brought and took to bring this character to life. And I thought that he was so fantastic in the film. I really enjoyed him. And just overall, I've always enjoyed Kumail. I think he's just a really fun actor. And anything he's ever been in, I've always enjoyed his performance. Now, another film I really enjoyed him in is another film that he actually is a lead in the film, along with Dave Bautista, that came out in 2019. And then, of course, the film called Stuber. Yeah, Stuber. Yeah. Now, I know this movie got a lot of slack. I know it didn't do very well, but I absolutely loved this film. I thought it was super funny. It brought me back to, seeing the Rush Hour films, to, buddy cop type of films like that. And I just thought it was a really fun film. And Kumail was so freaking funny in it. I loved his character. I love how he was, so, not knowing about himself, but at the same time, he knew what he wanted, and I loved his reactions to all the instances that happened in the film, and I just really enjoyed how he, him and Dave Bautista's relationship in the film, and how they reacted to each other, was just on point. Especially the scene where they're at his sporting good place that he works at, and they're, sneaking in at night and stealing stuff, and just that whole interaction through that whole scene was on point, funny, and awesome, and just how well they worked it was just so well done. If you haven't seen Stuber, definitely give it a whirl, people. It's worth the watch, and Kumail was really fantastic in it. But when it comes to his performance in the Eternals, like I said, just how ripped and cut he got was super impressive, but his performance overall was really fun in it. I like that they brought in a comedy element, which he is really good at, along with the character, but I also really enjoyed his character. I love the, sympathy, and I love the characterization, and I love just how, his presence was as that character, and I really enjoyed him. And I thought he did such a great job, and he was a really great addition and selection for this film. Overall, I think that Kumail was a 10 in this film. I think he was so fantastic, and definitely worth a watch. If you haven't seen the Eternals yet, definitely give it a watch for Kumail. He was really superb in the film. So that brings me to the final actress I'll be talking about that was in this film. And that, of course, is another great actress who is gorgeous, beautiful, been a huge crush of mine for many, many years, and is just a really fantastic actress, and I always enjoy her in anything she's in. Of course, that is Miss Salma Hayek! Oh yeah! Salma Hayek! Woo! Salma Hayek! Yeah! Oh my god, this woman does not age. She is 56. And I cannot believe this woman's 56. She looks so amazing. She looks exactly the same, I feel, as she did back in 1995, 96, when she did, Dust to Dawn and all those types of films, Desperado and so forth. And she is just an amazing actress. Always enjoy her. She's always so super funny, but she can play a good, serious role as well. And I thought that's what she brought to this role. She played a very, serious type of position that, was a leader of the Eternals, but at the same time, you could see that motherliness that she brought to it, too, that is very, very much Latin culture, I feel. So I feel she brought a lot of herself into this character, and I thought that it was just really fantastically done. Now, another movie I really enjoyed her in is a great film that just came out a couple years ago, starring Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds, called, wait for it, The Hitman's Bodyguard. Yeah, The Hitman's Bodyguard. Yeah. So The Hitman's Bodyguard is just a really fantastic action comedy film that Selma Hayek was about in, and she basically plays Samuel L. Jackson's wife in the film. And throughout the film, you see a lot of Samuel Jackson, a lot of Ryan Reynolds, and you get to see bits and pieces with Selma Hayek in it as the character of, Samuel L. Jackson's wife. But the scenes she in are absolutely pure comedy perfection. Oh my God, when she's in jail, or it's either jail or a mental institution, I can't remember exactly, or something like that. It's like a psych ward or something, but still like jail. And she has this like roommate that she has stuck in the corner, and the roommate keeps farting. It's absolutely freaking hilarious, and just the expressions that Selma brings to the character, and that scene, those scenes there, and she's like on point with talking to this gal, telling her what to do and stuff, were just so freaking funny, and just all around such a great performance. And just some of the scenes she had with Samuel L. Jackson were just on point, perfection too, and just so stinking funny. And she just brought a great just comedy element to this film that, she's done a lot of dramatic roles, she's done a lot of action roles, but not a ton of comedy. Like, she's done The Grown-Ups, and she was in Frida as Frida. She was in, all these types of films, but her comedy timing is on point, and she brought that to this role, and it just was such a great performance. If you haven't seen The Hitman's Bodyguard or The Hitman's Bodyguard Wife, definitely check those out. They are fantastic, and Selma is amazing in them. But when it comes to performance, like I was saying earlier, to the Eternals, I thought she did a really fantastic job. I really enjoyed her. I thought she did a great job of performing as that character. I liked her character. I thought she did a great job of bringing it to life and giving us this, from comic book to TV, movie translation that really translated very well. Because from what I read in the comic books and what I read about the character, Selma was on point with the comic book, and she did a really good job of bringing that to life, and I just thought overall it just was a really fantastic performance. If you haven't seen Selma in anything, definitely check her out in Eternals. She was really superb as well. So what is the Eternals about? Basically, the film is an origin story that basically shows you through time, from the time the Eternals came to Earth, kind of what they've dealt with, and, coming to the, time of when Endgame happens. Now it's been a few months after Endgame has happened, and kind of like the consequences they're having to deal with what happened in Endgame, and having to deal with the Deviants again, who they were sent to the Earth to defend the humans against, and basically kind of their origin story along with them fighting the Deviants and trying to save the world from basically being taken over and given birth to a Celestial. And this movie, like I said, it's a great concept. It's a great idea. Like I said, going in, like I said before, I was really skeptical because of Chloe Zhao's directing. But like I said, it was actually very entertaining and a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought the visual effects were amazing. I thought the acting overall by everyone was really well done. I liked the idea that they went for. I liked that they, had this interesting but different take into the MCU, giving us this whole other aspect of the MCU, and giving us this really interesting, characterization and these new characters to basically fall in love with. Now, this film definitely does deviate from what the comic books are and what the actual Eternals are. They make them into basically robots in the film, where they're not that in the comic books. So there is a lot of comic book difference from this. So if you're a huge comic fan of the Eternals, you're going to be a little disappointed at that aspect of it. But overall, the film is a decent film, very entertaining, and very enjoyable. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. In theaters now, going to be on Disney Plus soon. It's a really fun film. Can't wait to add it to the collection, to my MCU collection. Definitely a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I definitely give this one a 7 out of 10 Golden Movie Boxes up. Definitely worth the watch and a decent film. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, also thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or you have been here before, don't forget to check out any of my older, newer videos that you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, people, if you enjoy my content and want to show support for the channel, definitely check out my links down below. Either from my Patreon page, where I do amazing and awesome, fantastic extras for those that are subscribed to my Patreon, where they get exclusives such as, what's coming up next, bloopers, outtakes, all that kind of cool stuff. Definitely check that out, people, and it's worth the buy, and it's definitely a great thing, so definitely check that out. And also, people, if you enjoy my content, definitely check out my link for the horror pack. If you're a huge horror fan, what better way to get horror films in your life is to rent your door every month for a great low price, so definitely check that out, too. As always, people, catch you in the next one!